and welcome to Steelfest 2018. Not a review, but kind of a what was going on report, opinion, or whatever. Now, I'm not gonna list you again the bands that were playing there because that kind of would make no sense. That you can see pretty much from the previous stuff, which I made a couple of weeks ago, just 1 week ahead of Steelfest 2018. Now, there was clearly some misinformation on my behalf. That festival has been arranged something like 8 times now in total versus what I was saying there. But the first couple of times were kind of more like, well, smaller festivals than the bigger ones. So that might explain my freaked up things I said. Now, we managed to do 5 out of 6 interviews, which were already kind of agreed to do. So I'm happy to promise you more stuff to come in the interview section after a small break. And the ones that we managed to do are Fortress from French part of Canada, a great melodic black metal band. Then Mortis from Norway. Yes, the guy that used to play in Ember but kind of soon moved on to play this kind of a electronic or dark wave music, depending on which era are you looking for. And he was also playing one of the headlining gigs there. And then we interviewed Algazant, which called it a day. They released their 8th and final CD or album a few weeks ago, and this was their last kind of a official gig. And while there will be a one last funeral gig in early June, that was basically Algazant is no more after that one, and that is something that we talk about. Then one of the greatest album 2017 was by a kind of a Dutch band, black metal band called Asraum, and that is what we also got to cover. And then I talked something with Henu, guy behind Moonsorrow songs and also Fintroll, mastermind of 2 different bands and whatnot. And those 5 interviews are coming in the following weeks on Rauta channel. We will be posting those interviews on Mondays, but not every Monday because we need to do some editing work. Not by me, I'm totally skillless in that area, but anyway. And then we have also one other interview which we did prior to Steelfest, which is also coming some point during the summer. And there are other plans, but that's not part of Steelfest anyway. So people might be asking, what was Steelfest like? Well, it was great once again. The weather was sunny as it is now. It was warm. There were lots of great people, good beer, good foods, and more importantly, good bands. I'm kind of sorry to say I didn't see most of the bands, which I guess comes to no surprise to anybody who knows me working at the festival. Well, the main reason for Friday was that I was way too busy with the interview because schedules don't always, work they were supposed to. And so there was kind of, ping-ponging back and forth with the schedules, and that basically cut most of the day off, at least on my behalf. But what I can say is that there were some really enjoyable gigs as well. Meanwhile, I didn't watch any of them fully. I went to see quite a few, at least on some parts. For example, Friday band's Destroyer 666 was as killer as always. So something that I can say is, once again, a great live band. Just too bad that the main guy, KG Warslat, said thanks but no thanks when it came to the interview. Mortis was not exactly my cup of tea, it has never been, but what I can say is that the guy behind the band is just a wonderful fella, really nice, relaxed, easygoing, and somebody who I could have been, talking for a couple of hours if only it wasn't a thing of time and all that stuff. And what else there was on Friday that I should have been mentioning? Well, I missed Satanic Warmaster gig, and that was very special stuff because Henno from Moonsrow was playing since everybody said it was way better than previous gigs. For example, the one I get to saw when I get to see at Turku Saatanalla. So if you get a chance to see Satanic Warmaster with that kind of a keyboard live, most definitely do that. Also, I missed Archcode, but at least I can tell you this much: we have agreed to do Archcode interview as soon as I get to hear the latest album, which is coming, I think, late summer or early autumn. I'm not exactly sure when, but anyhow, we will get to talk about that as well. Now, Friday was the busy day for me. Saturday, not so much, but for some dubious reason, I was having this kind of headache that was basically hammering my head, and the inside stage with Steelfest was clearly better sound-wise than earlier, which is a great thing because that has been suffering from so much from bad sounds. Now this was better, but due to my headache, I could barely, stand it, even though great bands were performing. For example, Asagam, which I was kind of looking forward to see on stage, I could barely like it due to the massive headache. But anyhow, what I could see and hear was that that band can clearly play live as well, and now it's with totally different lineup. But you'll get to hear that more about that from the interview. And then there were band like Dead Scarred, which is one of the weird cases in the world of metal, mostly, I guess, because they kind of left metal behind and started doing something else. Very interesting in a ways, but musically not my cup of tea anymore. I mean, I just kind of love the early parts, what they used to do, not so much the latter part. And that is also one of the reasons which I guess that band basically divided, opinions back and forth, left and right, and whatever. Nocturnal Mortum from Ukraine also was playing an interesting live with kind of a really nice, stage backdrops with, photos from, I guess, different parts of Ukraine. Really beautiful and kind of interesting music, but never has been quite, my cup of tea. But definitely, once again, a band that you should go see if you manage to miss it at Steelfest. Some people were saying that maybe it was just too much focusing on certain album material rather than being from the full scope, but an interesting band which unfortunately we couldn't do an interview with because, well, never replied to my interview requests. We're too small, or then they're having too bad time with English. And Necros Christos, for example, was, once again proving, this was my second time seeing them on stage, that they are really, really skilled guys, with their instruments, vocals, and, creating music. However, I still haven't heard their latest album, so I wasn't too familiar with the songs yet. But something that is most definitely something you might want to witness live, even though they're ending their career with the third album. But it seems they are playing live for quite a bit or quite a while still, so go to see them live as well. And most bands just work nicely at Steelfest. These are just some hand-picked exceptions that kind of came to my mind. But as it always happens with events like Steelfest, when you get to see a lot of friends, both old and new, you kind of tend to see less bands than you actually had planned, and that's exactly what happened to me. I mean, it's kind of like a friendly scene meeting in a way, if you will, as well as having a couple of beers, outside when the sun is shining, and then some work and all those kind of become this mess. You're just having hard time to to schedule it properly. So that's the reason why I didn't manage to watch any gig fully, even though I rarely do that unless it's really special gig from a very special band, because you have to have your food breaks and drink breaks and piss breaks and talk breaks and all that stuff, and sometimes you just miss bands or at least half the gigs. But what I can say, really interesting bands, everything from Tormentor to Moonsorrow, from Satanic Warmaster to Archgoat, lots of different bands, and maybe too much to swallow at one go. Then again, it's also, a good excuse just to skip something. But all in all, I am very, very convinced that Steelfest is, if not the best, one of the best festivals ever to exist in Finland. I mean, everything from the venue to the people to the beers and food and bands and just the whole setting, the whole atmosphere, even weather included, was just nice. And what can I say? Should you have any second guessing whether to come to next Steel Fest, well, you should start booking your tickets right about now. Or maybe you'll just hold until the first bands for 2019 are released and then get your tickets going. And this is a tip I shouldn't be giving because I still haven't booked my own hotel yet, but you should also start considering booking those hotels because some of them are already going even though the official dates have not been announced yet. People are that enthusiastic about Steelfest and the hotel rooms and whatnot. They're nice hotels now that one of the new ones was kind of reopened, so lots of people were having good time with pool area and just having like-minded people to have good drinks with and some other substances that I am not in liberty to talk about. But let's just put it this way, we had really good time with nice people and basically nothing else went wrong except my goddamn annoying headache. So I'm here to say I'm a Steelfest fan and I'm looking forward to get back there 2019. But before we quit, just also remember to check out Steelfest page for Steel Chaos Inside Festival coming this fall in Helsinki, Finland. Same guys working behind the festival as Steelfest, but inside event with lots of cool bands, and I think they will be announcing bands already this week, so by the time this video gets out you have already probably read about or heard about these bands, so make sure you get your plans ready for that festival as well. Book your flights if you need to, your hotels, and get ready for some real metal deal. There are probably some things I will get into my head after this video is done, so should I forget something I will post it as a comment, and should you have any questions about interviews or Steelfest in general or just whatever, shoot it on the comments box below and I'll try getting back to you as soon as I can. Until that, all I can say is enjoy your summer, go to see some cool bands, there are lots of good festivals out there, and drink responsibility. With responsibility, don't get a headache that will ruin your day. That's all folks, see you soon with more Rauta stuff coming your way. Bye.